Good evening. South Australia has been lashed by the remnants of tropical cyclone Stan, with flash flooding and damage across the state. Rainfall records tumbled in the second destructive summer storm in less than a fortnight.
It may not have been a cyclone anymore, but still this system from across the WA border caused drama and damage. First hit was the west coast. Serious flooding in the heart of Port Lincoln, the city's wettest 24 hours in more than 20 years. Streets became streams and roundabouts rivers. Emergency services on alert and some residents forced to wade their way home. McDonald's was a washout, and as the centre of town was rendered a danger, locals were fuming that the water hadn't been able to drain away.
For it to come back up through the drains and the smell through the store and the cost and the expense, I mean, we're closed for a day today, and the expense to our business of not being able to trade and having to turn customers away, it's very disappointing. As
the system moved east, it was Adelaide's turn, the rains arriving just in time for a wet dash to work. The SES called to assist as homes were inundated. At Paraka, these residents tried to prevent as much damage as they could. Trouble at the old Supreme Court building as water streamed in, while further south even heavier falls. Emergency crews scrambling to halt flooding at Strathalbyn, and there was sandbagging to protect homes at nearby Goolwa. In Victor Harbour, a car yard was left resembling a lake.
It was right up to the sill panels on a customer's car that we had here.
A ceiling collapse forcing the closure of the Target store.
The fire crew were here earlier today and they were mopping up, and now they're having their ceiling fixed.
The sudden switch from summer to storm also felling stressed trees, leaving some counting the cost.
I looked out the front window and there's the great limb that's fallen down across the driveway, across my front of the garden, and then also crunched my poor old little white pulsar.
And all of us reeling at what was supposed to be the 64th day of summer.
Jessica Braithwaite joins us live now. Jessica, just how much rainfall was there today?
Well, Kate, we saw some huge totals right across the state. Coming in with the biggest fall was Coffin Bay, where we saw 75.8 millimetres falling. That was their highest daily rainfall on record. Nullarbor saw a huge 62.4, and at Port Lincoln with nearly 50 millimetres, that was their wettest day in more than 20 years. In Adelaide, more than a month's worth, 17.4. And at Hindmarsh Island, we saw 44 millimetres. So some big totals there, but that system has moved on now. We're left behind with much calmer, more summer-like conditions for the rest of the week. I'll have the latest on what to expect there just a little bit later in the bulletin.
Thank you, Jessica. That is incredible. And the rain has made for treacherous conditions on the roads. Eddie Godfrey joins us live. And Eddie, a busy day for emergency crews.
It sure has been, Brenton. Police have been called to more than 30 road accidents today, and many of those happened during the morning rush to work. The worst of which happened near the Hyson tunnels on the southeastern freeway. 5 cars were involved in a pile-up at 7:30 this morning on the down track. A lane was closed for about an hour and a half while emergency crews attended that scene and cleaned up, and it caused traffic to be banked up for several kilometres. There were difficult driving conditions right across the city today. A nasty crash at Valley View caused delays for those travelling in from the northern suburbs. 2 cars were involved in an accident there, which also brought down a traffic pole. Now, adding to the commuter chaos this morning were problems with our public transport system. Electrical faults caused delays with tram services running between Hindmarsh and West Terrace, while a gate failure caused some delays for the Gawler train line. Now, the Transport Department says that those problems have been fixed, so the commute home should be much easier this evening, but the roads are still slippery and very busy, so we're being urged to be cautious.